Hey guys, this is Dan at Yourpbfriend.com. This is the troubleshooting video for the Bob Long Inside NG, just to go over a little bit of your issues that you may have. The first troubleshooting part that I want to mention to you is the trigger, and it's shooting full auto or taking off on you, a runaway trigger. We have a different video for that, so go ahead and search that runaway trigger or Bob Long trigger tuning or Insight tuning, trigger tuning, and you can check that out. I'm going to quickly go over for you just some of the little issues with the Bob Long Insight that may pop up. I was talking to Bob this last week at Paintball Extravaganza, and 99% of the problems, guys, are you're not lubing your markers, or those that aren't lubing their markers. Those are 99% of the problems. Make sure you use the lube the marker with a good quality Dow 33 grease. Dow 33 mixed with Triflow. It's fantastic. That's what Bob's Super Grease is. You can do that. But let me quickly get into just a few things on the marker. The Inside NG is Bob's attempt at making a marker that has very little maintenance or work required. This gun just shoots and shoots and shoots and has almost no issues. It's very simple. The gun cycles really fast. I believe, well, the Lux cycle time is 45 milliseconds. The Bob Long Insight cycle time is 11 milliseconds. It's 7 milliseconds forward and 4 milliseconds back. The reason I tell you that is that's the little kick that you're going to feel with the Insight. You're going to feel the Insight that shoots back really fast, and you're going to get a little bit of that barrel rise. And that's why you need to keep the marker lubed so well. First, we're going to look at the regulator. The regulator, you almost have no problems with this thing. There's a little O-ring around the piston and the top of the shim stack. Just go ahead and keep that lubed every 10 to 20 cases. You're not going to have many problems with that, so we're not even going to talk about it. The Schrader valve, this is the high pressure Schrader valve in here. Sometimes you may have that leaking here. If it's leaking, here's the way to test. You screw on your tank with this bottom part of the reg off. If it leaks right here, you have a bad Schrader valve. Pick up a new one, give us a call. We'll get you hooked up with a new one. We have a bunch of them in stock for you. That almost never goes wrong. If you air it up and it doesn't leak out of here, you got no problems with the Schrader valve, so you're fine. Yeah, that was really simple, huh? Cool. The ASA has almost no issues with that thing. The thing just works. If you did have an issue, go ahead and take the ASA off. You want to keep the screws tight on the inside. I've seen some people let the ASA get loose. If it gets loose, remove the grip panel, tighten the screw on the inside, keep that screwed in well. A very uncommon issue, but a few people have had, is the gun. Let me zoom in more. The gun starts leaking out of this little hole right here, this vent hole. That's a solenoid vent hole. When the gun works, it'll actually shoot air out of there. Now, what that would be is, here's the solenoid of the gun. As you can see, there are 4 O-rings. Let me bring it up for you and focus. Alright, there's 4 O-rings on that. There's been a few of them that, few Insights that we've seen that had those O-rings go bad. If they go bad, you need to, well, it'll start leaking right here. Or you may have the gun start puking. If it's leaking right there, remove this. There's room for Allen keys, or I mean a wrench right here. You can just twist it and remove it. Go ahead and take that off. Check these O-rings. If they're bad, call me or Blast. I have a bunch of them. I'll send them to you free. No worries there. Put them on there. You're good to go. If not, you may need to just take a little bit of Dow 33 lube. Just wipe it around the outside of it. Screw it back in, and you're fine. Bob has never seen, nor have I, seen an Insight solenoid go bad yet. These things just work, and work. So there's not much to go wrong with these things. They're just a fantastic little solenoid there. You can have some issues with, let me pull it out here. Another issue that people have had was they're having shoot down. Shoot down's caused by two things. One of it, which used to be more common before they started Loctiting these, is the back cap would come a little bit loose. If the backcap comes loose, you'll get air pressure behind there and the gun will start shooting down. You want to make sure that you put a little bit of blue Loctite on there. Keep it tight, really tighten it down. It should never really have to come off. You don't really need to mess with that at all. If you have a leak coming out of this screw right here, it's because it's not sealing. There's a little O-ring in there, and then you actually just need to pull out that screw right there. You want to clean off the threads off the old Loctite. If you re-Loctite it without cleaning off the threads, the Loctite will not perform a seal and you'll still have a leak there. So clean it off, put some blue Loctite in there, let it dry for about 2 hours before you go and start cycling the marker and put air through it. Overnight is better. That'll clear up that leak right there, and you should be good to go. This pin right here, it can leak. If you get a little bit of leak, the first thing that I recommend that you try to do is you just take a little bit of oil, you just put it in right here, and you start pushing it up and down multiple times. So press it like 3, 4, 5 times. It should seal up the leak. There's just 2 O-rings underneath there. If that doesn't fix it, unscrew these screws, pull the steel button and the brass seat out. There's 2 O-rings. Grease the O-rings, put it back in. Should take care of that. Back to the shoot down issue. The other problem with shoot down is actually been fixed by these updated O-rings that Bob has recommended for people. Take apart the engine, take off this O-ring so you don't lose it. Let me actually show you how to take this apart real quick. You take needle nose pliers. There's a Ventura face bolt tip. Let me see if you can actually see. Alright. Oh, let me pull it up. There you go. You see the light through it. There's the holes. You stick the needle nose pliers. You don't grab onto the rubber piece. You stick the needle nose pliers into the holes of the bolt face. You take an Allen key and stick it on the back and unscrew it. That just breaks the seal. I only hand tighten these things ever. That's all you really need to do. This is the shutoff. Right here, there's a number 10 O-ring in there. And then there's a O-ring. Let me see if I can get you to see it. Alright, there's an O-ring on the inside of this part, going on the inside. It was a 19. It has been replaced by a 2x20. What that does is that actually makes it a little tighter of a seal. There you go, you can see it right in there. It makes it tighter. Air was leaking past the shutoff and getting behind the rammer. Let's put it like this. It was leaking past the shutoff, getting behind the rammer, and causing it to get drop off. It was slowing it down. The way to know that you have the new O-ring, you take the shutoff, you'll be able to hear it. I'm going to click it in. You're going to hear the force or the pressure there. The old one, it just kind of fell into it. Let me click it. There you go. You heard it click. You can also test. You turn it upside down. It's not going to fall out. The old one would fall out beforehand. So that's the first O-ring to do. Then there's also a number 10 O-ring on the inside of the shutoff right there. That's been replaced from the Buna O-ring. You go ahead and pull that out, and you want to stick some grease in there and put the new O-ring back in. That'll take care of that. These O-rings right here, these number 10s, you can replace them if you're having some issues with the bolt bouncing, or which is clipping the second ball in the feed neck. Go ahead and replace these. That's almost non-existent anymore. They've kind of solved that. Just go ahead and re-lube those when you put them on. Like I said, I put this hand tight. You're not going to have issues with this O-ring right here. You don't really need to do much to it. Put a little bit of lube on it. The soft tip billow, or a pillow tip, the soft bolt pillow tip, has actually been Loctited in there. If you have a problem with it and this breaks off or you lose that, you actually need to take a lighter and remove these O-rings so you don't melt them. But then just put a little heat for about 8 seconds onto the thing, and then you can unscrew it and pull it out. Make sure you put this O-ring back on. These O-rings on the outside of the can are pretty much static O-rings. There's not a lot to go wrong with them. You don't really need to replace them. Just keep some lube on them, and you are good to go with that. I did a trigger tuning video for you guys. That's actually on a different video. I did how to basically lube your bolt. That's a different video, so you can see that quickly as well. Going to slide this back in. One other thing that I've had somebody mention to me is they had an issue with blowback, or it's actually with the inside, it's the ball, the bolt clipping the second ball in the feed neck. What you need to do is, well, how you would know is if you're just getting random chops, what's happening is the force feed loaders are putting pressure on the feed stack, and the bolt's coming by and bouncing. It's moving so fast, it's kind of bouncing up and clipping the second ball in the stack. To test for that, take 2 balls, stick it in there, and then fire it. If it's bouncing, the second ball in the feed tube will not fall in, it will actually pop out. If that's your case, go ahead and bump up your dwell. Your dwell needs to be at 12. Bump it up to 13, 14, even 15 is fine. That's not going to cause a lot of problems. Like I said, the bolt cycles so fast that a little extra dwell, which all it does is slow down the bolt cycle speed, will not harm the gun or mess with the efficiency much. So you can test for that way. Go ahead and turn up the dwell. That'll get rid of that clipping issue. Let's see, there's not too much more to do. There's a bolt setting. People were having issues that at the end of the loader, especially the spire, when there's only a few balls left in it and it's not feeding consistently and there's no pressure on the ball stack, the Insight would chop the last few balls. What's happening is the bolt is still moving back and forth so fast, and the ball is actually dropping down past the eyes. The bolt or the board tells the gun go ahead and fire, but then the ball bounces up a little bit, and so it's actually just getting chopped right then and there. So this has been updated with the new board software. It's 5.19 BD. Let me go ahead and show you. Hold down the trigger, turn on the board. Alright, we're gonna have to pick it up. Alright, to start, let me show you again. It's going to say 5.19 BD. If you don't have that setting, send it in to us. We'll swap it out with a reflash board and send it back to you. But you hold down the trigger, and I'm going to press the button. Once you do, it will say 5.19 BD. There you go. Frenzy 5.19 BD. Scroll through by pulling the trigger. You don't ever need to mess with debounce. That does nothing on an Insight, only a G6R. The mech debounce we set to 5 on the trigger tuning video. Dwell, you need at 12. I'll talk about that in a sec. But here, after you got BD delay, and it's set to 8 milliseconds. That should take care of it. If it doesn't take care of it, go ahead and bump it up to 10, 12. All that will do is when you're firing a full stream, and then you get to the end of your loader, you'll hear like da 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 da. It'll wait until the ball is fully settled in there, and there's no more light to actually fire the ball. That'll stop all your chopping videos and make it so you can, one ball and get that last guy out, hopefully. The dwell on the Insight, some people may have bolt stick. That's 90% to do with lube. If you're not using good lube and it's not lube, you'll have bolt stick, but jump the dwell up from 9 to 12. There's no advantage at having a 9 dwell on this gun. You're not going to lose any efficiency on it. Well, none that you can really even tell. This gun is so efficient as it is. Jump it up to 12, you should have no problems. If your gun's having inconsistency issues, I tell people take out the bolt, re-lube it, back out the screw on the regulator. So turn it down, the pressure, and then start turning it up slowly. If you have the pressure way too high in the gun, you are actually like restricting it with too much air and too much pressure. If you see, it should be about flush the screw for the regulator, set screw. Should be about flush. And that's it for really troubleshooting the Bob Long Insight NG. Bob says it's pretty much his simplest gun. He's like, after the quick updates that they put, there's really not much to go wrong. If you do find anything else that I haven't spoken about, or maybe I missed something, go ahead and send me a message. But this gun is just really simple. It should work and work. Can't stress this enough in any of these videos, guys. Use a quality lube. Monkey Poo. Dow 33 base. The best is Dow 33 mixed with some Tri-Flow or something. That's pretty much what Monkey Poo and Bob's lube is. Use that lube, man. I was talking to Bob this last week at Extravaganza, and 95% of the insights that come in with an issue is just people not lubing. I literally pull out the bolt, wipe it down, re-lube it, shove it back in, and it fires perfectly with no issues. So, yep, give us a shout out at Yourpbfriend, yourpbfriend.com for all your Bob Long needs, and thanks, guys.